Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A man has been airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital with critical head injuries after his vehicle rolled on a remote track in Upper Blessington this morning. An investigation is zeroing in on whether alcohol was a factor in the crash.
A Land Cruiser flipped on its side. The roof caved in, the aftermath of a frightening crash.
Approximately about 11 a.m. this morning we were called to attend a sinker vehicle crash on Rose Tiers Road at Upper Blessington.
The 22-year-old driver and his passenger were travelling in the car along the gravel road before they
subsequently lost control, has rolled a number of times.
Both managed to escape the mangled vehicle but were rushed to the Launceston General Hospital. The P-plater behind the wheel suffered critical head injuries and was flown to Hobart, but according to police, it could have been even worse.
I'd say it's a very lucky escape for the drivers, for the driver and passenger, and they were wearing their seatbelts, which was good.
What caused the crash is still under investigation, but it's understood alcohol is a contributing factor. Authorities say this incident is a lesson for drivers. Unsealed roads require extra vigilance.
You have to be careful. Obviously the road conditions and the speed, especially on loose gravel like we have here at the moment.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, 2 people have been airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital following a crash in the central Highlands last night. Emergency services were called to Highland Lakes Road just after 5:30. Authorities say a 65-year-old man suffered a coughing fit, driving his vehicle, boat and trailer into a tree. His female passenger was uninjured. A woman offering assistance at the scene also suffered a medical episode and was airlifted to hospital. In breaking news now, Tasmanian authorities are responding to the activation of a personal locator beacon on the South Coast track in the state's southwest. Police were notified at around 4 o'clock this afternoon and the Westpac rescue helicopter was dispatched to the area shortly after. It's been revealed 11 allegations of sexual abuse have been made to the Tasmanian Education Department in the past 4 years. It's triggering calls from Labor for more information to be released about the Commission of Inquiry into Abuse within government institutions, which is set to begin early next year.
For those draft terms of reference to be put out into the community so that any feedback and submissions can be received by government, so the final terms of reference truly reflect what's required so that we can make sure all survivors are given the best chance to have their stories heard.
The government says it will name a commissioner and release the terms of reference before the end of the year. Just over a year after a popular Hobart pub called Last Drinks, its transformation into long-term accommodation for men at risk of homelessness is almost complete. The keys of the Waratah Hotel have officially been handed to the operators of Bethlehem House today, hoping to help people off the streets just in time for Christmas.
It might not look too different from the outside, but this once popular hotel known as the Tar now has a new lease on life.
To convert it from being a much-loved watering hole and hotel and part of a lot of people's growing up story in Hobart.
Set to be home to 24 single men at risk of homelessness, the Minister touring the Murray Street accommodation before handing over the keys to Bethlehem House, contracted to operate the facility.
So well done.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
And it's the best Christmas present that we could ever have had.
Work to fill the rooms will start immediately.
Well, we're going to start accepting applicants from the priority register straight away so that they know they're going to have a home to go to.
But there are concerns it doesn't go far enough.
Of course, we've got 3,400 people on the public housing waiting list, and unfortunately these 24 beds are just a drop in the ocean.
We know that there's more work to be done and we'll keep investing in facilities like this.
And there's also a push from within Hobart's council to tackle the city's housing woes. Councillor Jax Ewan and Mayor Anna Reynolds want a report to look into reforms needed to place a cap on the number of short-stay accommodation properties within the municipality.
There are just so many layers to how complex this is. and the reasons why it is really difficult for local government to act in this space when we're governed by state legislation.
We welcome the Hobart City Council taking a proactive, informed approach.
It will now be considered by the Council's Planning Committee. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
With the weather heating up across Tasmania, people are being reminded to never leave their children or pets unattended in a vehicle. RACT figures show its roadside patrols have attended 180 call-outs to rescue children or animals over the past 12 months. Temperatures inside cars can be up to 40 degrees higher than outside conditions. The insurer warning new technology isn't foolproof.
There is a view that it is very, very hard to lock the keys in the car now with modern technology and buttons, but it is actually still quite easy to do.
People also reminded to never let children play with keys. Tasmanians have bopped and toe-tapped to the beat of the Council of Launceston RSL band at the Music in the Park event this afternoon. It's the first of 8 concerts to be held at City Park, with an event to go ahead each Sunday throughout summer. There's also plenty of activities to keep children entertained, with a jumping castle and train rides on offer. The Hobart Hurricanes have survived a late fight back to defeat the Adelaide Sixers in today's BBL clash at Blunston Arena. 72 from opener Darcy Short helped the Canes post an imposing target. However, the Strikers took the game to the last over.
The Hurricanes were surprisingly sent into bat by the Strikers, with openers Will Jacks and Darcy Short on the front foot early on.
Oh, Jacks has got plenty of that. That goes a long way. Here's the skipper. Welcome to the crease, Peter Siddle.
The duo giving the Canes a solid start. Poor fielding also helping their cause.
Top edge, flies high and dropped.
Jacks reached 34 before Gibson showed his Adelaide teammates how it's done. The Strikers throwing themselves at everything. However, Short and Ingram were unfazed.
Oh, he has hammered that. That's gone a mile back.
The two smacking Rashid Khan for 25 in 1 over.
Oh. The sound was pure. Oh, he stares that down as well. It's catching practice.
Short stint eventually ending on 72. Ingram then fell to some clever catching from Khan.
He's hit that a mile in the air. Has he got enough on it?
Hobart eventually setting 175 for victory. Their defence getting off to a strong start.
And gets there. James Faulkner, nothing wrong with those knees.
A peach from James Faulkner sending Phil Salt on his way. Nielsen went a short time after. And when Riley Meredith nabbed John Wells, the Hurricanes were on top.
There's a shout. And another one.
Meredith's fancy footwork ended Ryan Gibson's innings. Rashid Khan lasted just the 1 ball before Renshaw fell to Faulkner.
Oh, this has gone a mile in the air. The shouting catch it and taken.
Daniel Worrell notched a half-century, but wickets were falling around him. However, number 11 Danny Briggs stuck with him to take it to the last over.
Danny Briggs, he gets enough of that. Is there another twist to this tale?
18 off the final one, too much for the Strikers. The Hurricanes claiming the points, but not without a fright. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds have laced up their shoes for the revamped summer edition of the Launceston Running Festival. It's one of the first elite races to be held after months of a COVID stronghold, with a dozen Tokyo-bound Olympians also lining up.
After spending most of 2020 racing against themselves, this was a welcome return to normality for runners. The absence of top-level competition today ending as hundreds sped from the start line at the Launceston Running Festival.
They've been busting to get out there and put their training to the best, and Fortunately, borders open in time.
From a half marathon to a 1 kilometre dash, 4 categories to satisfy all abilities, from tiny tots to tearaways. In the highly contested 10k event, course record holder Jack Rayner finished first.
This time I tried to run quicker, but I think I went out a little bit too quick in the first couple of k, and I paid for it in the last few k.
Meanwhile, Australian athletics captain Jen Gregson proved her prowess.
I don't think I could have gone much faster than that, so credit to the girls that were pulling me along.
A win at Hobart's Run the Bridge event early next year would solidify an impressive milestone.
She's going to come back on February 28 and try and win the hat-trick of Tasmanian 10-kilometre titles.
She's one of 12 Olympians pulling on the bib for the running festival.
This is the greatest field we've had for a road running race in Australian history.
The first major test in an 8-month journey towards Tokyo next year.
It's exciting for them to be out there and having that chance to test themselves against other elite athletes.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. 29 in Hobart today, Launceston 25, a high of 20 in Devonport and Burnie 18. 30 was the state's top today at Scott's Peak, 21 across King Island and Smithton, Lyweni 17 and 28 at Strawn. On the close-up shows patches of high-level cloud moving over Tasmania. Further out, a large band of middle and high-level cloud covers most of the Northern Territory and South Australia. Tomorrow, a pair of troughs lie over central and western Australia, while a ridge extends over New South Wales and Victoria. East to northeasterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots in the north, and north to northeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots elsewhere. A strong wind warning is current for northwestern coastal waters and for eastern and southeastern waters from St Helens Point to southeast Cape. Tomorrow's forecast now 31 and hot and sunny across Hobart and Dover, Ooze 33. In the north, partly cloudy across Launceston and Devonport, Scottsdale 25. Burnie and Stanley tomorrow 22, Strawn looking hot and sunny. St Helens 23 and 28 across Swansea and Ross. The UV forecast is extreme across the state with the sun setting at 8:42 p.m. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Tuesday showers developing about the western and central areas during the morning. Wednesday showers about the east and north, and Thursday showers about the east with southeasterly winds. Capital cities 24 and mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow, Melbourne 32 and Sydney expecting a shower or two. And currently Hobart 26 and mostly cloudy, Launceston 21 and Devonport 18 and mostly cloudy. That's all for weather tonight. Looking good, thanks Jackie. And that's all your news for now for this Sunday night. Thanks for joining us. Kim will be back with you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. Good night.